Good afternoon, my name is Keith with PyroUHP. Today we're going to be discussing the B2000 MG. First of all, we're going to take a look here inside the unit. The first thing we're going to show you is the unloader valve. This is how we set our pressure on the unit. This is already pre-adjusted from the factory, so you don't have to make any adjustments. The next thing you want to check periodically is your foam filter to make sure there's no debris. Right below that is the water filter. You can check that for debris periodically to make sure you don't have any rocks or anything coming in from the tank or any other source. Next, we're going to go up to our hose reel or booster reel. This is a tension brake on the side, so once you deploy it, you can set your tension on it, or as you're deploying, you can also set your tension. On the other side is a manual brake. Once you deploy your hose reel and your hose, you want to make sure that this brake is locked into position, because as you apply pressure to the unit, opening and closing the valve, it will cause the reel to rock, which will unspool it. You also have your rewind switch located on the reel itself. Next, we're going to go to the control panel. This is your main pressure gauge. Next is a water inlet with a valve. Our next component here is the foam controller, so you can select whatever percentage foam you want. The next inlet is for our drafting. You can hook up your drafting hose. Next handle here is for our tank fill or for our hose reel, so you can have a selection. Now when you do your primary startup, you want to make sure this is in tank fill. Then once you get the unit up and running, then you can select hose reel. The switch here is located for draft or pump, so you can select if you're in drafting mode, you select into draft. If you're working off of tank water, you want to make sure it's in pump. Next is our throttle position switch. When you first start off, again, you want to make sure this is in low position. And then once you get ready to man the nozzle, you want to make sure that you're in high position. And what this does is, so it gives you automatic engine ramp up and ramp down as you open and close the nozzle. Next is our water level gauge for the tank. Then we have a priming switch. So if we're going to use the primer and the drafting, we want to make sure here we have a selection handle to relieve the air out of the system. And we want to prime and establish water. Once we establish water, we want to make sure we close our handle here. Next, we come to the engine. The engine, you have your key start here for the engine. If for some reason you turn on the key and there's no power to the unit, you want to make sure you come over here to the main circuit breaker. Over here on the main circuit breaker, if you find the yellow actuator out like that, you want to make sure you push it in and then come back over to your unit. Turn the switch on. Now we have power to the unit. Next, we have a choke. Again, if you're working off of a cold start, you want to make sure you pull the choke. After you start the engine, push the choke completely back in. The lever here is so if you have a problem, your throttle's not working, you can manually control your throttle, and this will put it at the proper RPMs to be able to give you the right GPM. You can lock it in place. And when you're not using it, you just pull the handle and it'll stay in place. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to fire it up. Again, make sure the bail is closed. Pull the choke if necessary. Start. Make sure we're in low. We want to make sure we're in tank fill position. Now after we turn the unit off, you're going to notice that this line still has pressure on it. We want to make sure we bleed the pressure off. Here's the gauge here showing we still have pressure on the system. So again, open the nozzle, close it, and you can put the tank fill handle back in position so for the next startup.